I just had so many reasons of why I couldn't accomplish something like that, but it became something to work towards. Hi, my name is Rachel Jones, and I just completed 1,000 laps on the Manitou Incline. So the Manitou Incline is a set of stairs made out of railroad ties that go up in an elevation about 2,000 feet over the distance of just under a mile. It's such an extreme hike. It's such an extreme challenge. People come from all over the world just to hike this trail. So my very first time doing the Manitou Incline, I went with two friends. It was summer, middle of the day, had to be over 80 degrees. And we struggled up every single step. It was brutal. It was definitely one of the hardest physical challenges I've ever done. I wanted so badly to get to the top, but I just felt like I couldn't. But as I walked away, in my heart, I just felt like if I were to go back, if I were to try again, if I were to plan better, take my time, then maybe I could do it. And so that's what I did. I came back maybe about a week later, and I was just determined. I had the whole day blocked off. I had plenty of snacks, plenty of water, and I just had to make it. It was probably one of the first times in my life that I overcame that voice in my head that was telling me that I couldn't do something. And it was such a liberating feeling. About 10 years ago, one of the regulars on the incline told me about a club that had just formed. It was called the 500 Club. Now, the 500 Club consists of people who do the incline 500 times within a year, within 365 days. At that time, I could barely do the incline once. So the idea of doing it 500 times in a year, like I ran home and I mapped it out. It would take about 10 laps a week all year long to be able to do 500. So that then became this like ultimate goal of one day I could accomplish this. Where my life was at back then, I had a 5-year-old son, single mom, living paycheck to paycheck, really struggling to get by. I had a vehicle that would break down on me on the way to the grocery store. So the idea of being able to drive there daily, the physical ability to hike doubles that many times a week was something I physically couldn't do. So I just had so many reasons of why I couldn't accomplish something like that, but it became something to work towards. So the more I did it, the more empowering it was, and the more limitations were lifted off of me. Quitting wasn't an option. I knew I could complete it. And I think that's kind of been my motto from the very beginning. Even that very first time that I made it to the top, I told myself, if I can just take one more step, then I can keep going. In doing all of this, I got stronger, I got faster, and the goal of 500, it suddenly became a lot more attainable. And when I realized that not only was I going to finish the challenge, I was going to do it early. So at one point I decided to just go all out and make this even crazier than it was. And instead of counting towards 500, that I would start counting towards 1,000. Let me just see if it's possible. And at the time I really didn't believe it was. And that was part of the reason that I wanted to do that. I wanted to pick a challenge that I truly believed was impossible for me and to figure out how to make it possible. At that point, let's see, as I was going through September, I became tired. My heart rate had increased, so my recovery wasn't as well. I thought maybe I was just overdoing it. It was crazy, but I was just hiking really long days, really hard. And I thought maybe I was overdoing it, my body was run down. Come to find out at the end of September, I had discovered that I was pregnant.
beautiful day on the mountain.
Yeah, it's
Just now.
yeah, it's gorgeous.
Nobody's there. We got
I picked a good day to come.
We were hoping.
Yeah.
Are you doing a baby shower?
Yeah.
We want to support you, so
Yeah.
invite us.
Yeah,
He did
I was
cryo,
excited,
and, he said it
but
was totally different because
also, I guess, scared, just because throughout this last year, I have been training so consistently, and I have a training plan. I know exactly how long each lap takes, how much food I need, how much water I need, how much sleep I need. I just knew my body so well that I could predict the rest of my challenge. I had every lap planned out. Now, with this pregnancy, all that goes out the window. Now, I have no idea what symptoms I'm gonna have, how my body's gonna respond, if I can even do this. So I talked to my doctor. I told her about the challenge. She was fully on board with me continuing. She said that since my body was already accustomed to hiking so heavily, I could continue. I would just need to adjust for the pregnancy symptoms. When I first discovered that I was pregnant and still hiking, I sort of tapped in to my baby's energy for inspiration and for motivation. Before she came along, I would go into my own head, I'd go into my own thoughts. But once she joined me on the trail, I kind of started mentally tapping into her energy and kind of asking her how she would feel about this, and just really felt this connection and this support from her. I feel like she has a lot of fiery energy, and she wanted me to just keep going. And that's sort of what I used to motivate me through this. The incline being as challenging as it is, I always felt that the incline brought out the best version of me when I hiked it, and that's one of the reasons that I loved it so much. I've always said that there's a better version of you waiting at the top, and that's the best reason to do it every single time. As long as you can take one more step, you're not done. You think you are because you're hurting and you're tired and you can't breathe, but if you just stop and gather yourself and just take one more step, you make progress. So it's kind of a foolproof system. It's just take one more step. I think out of this entire journey, I never got to a point where I couldn't take one more step. You know, you can always take one more.